Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the WCW Worldwide Series for the 2nd of January 4th of January 1992. This is a new series. We've got many of them, over 1,300 audios available for your listening pleasure. We start the Worldwide Series, hope to get at least 50 to 70 episodes in before moving on to something else. So obviously we can only do what's there. Johnny B. Bad opens this particular edition. Of course, Johnny B. Bad at this point still a heel, and um, he is in a position of kind of coming up in the world. Hard clothesline that is brilliantly sold by his opponent as ultimately he kind of does the flip turn. Bad eventually hits the don't miss, although we are moving towards his babyface turn here. Ron Simmons brought back pretty much for one of the first times since his Lex Luger run in October. Says that he's had a wrist injury. Says he wants to be on top. Of course, by August of same year, he is in fact on top. In this particular case, as the world champion. So it's amazing how a few months in wrestling, especially in WCW, can mean a world of difference. Personally, I would have put Simmons in a position where he would have been champion much earlier. Probably the 91 Luger run at the time would have been a good time to do it. But obviously that didn't happen. We move on to an enhancement talent match with Buff Bagwell. Bagwell at this point, relatively new rookie coming in late in 91 off of the GWF TV primarily, and clotheslines and body slams, a couple of things. Bagwell, obviously, at this point, is completely underwhelming in the sense that he really doesn't know what he's doing from an experience level. Of course, he's been in the news recently as having gotten into some legal trouble for what seems like the 100th time. Anyway, uh, hip toss, leapfrogs, drop kicks, and eventually the perfect plex leading to a victory for Marcus Alexander Bagwell here. There is an interview where Terry Taylor gets up in his face pretty well. Paulie dangerously gets up in his face, offers him a shot in the Dangerous Alliance. Terry Taylor comes in the weeks to come, does the basic same thing. Bagwell had been deputized kind of as the rookie, so to speak, of the year in the previous year, and also kind of deputized as a guy that all the heels want to get under the skin of uh, in that way. In any event, we see Sting come out to try to, I guess, avenge Bagwell after he is negatively affected here. Sting battling off what amounts to the Dangerous Alliance getting jumped out from behind. Bagwell gets beat up. Sting makes the run in after Paulie does an amazing promo. Sting takes out 3 or 4 guys before finally getting run out. Rick Rude is the guy who, for the most part, is in a position of authority here. The Steiner brothers in an enhancement talent match next, which ultimately, it's here. Steiner's at the time just coming back together for the time period. Rick and Scott, of course, multi-time tag team champions in the NWA/WCW. Big time deal. Scott, obviously, the more technical guy, suplexes and throws. Enhancement talents gets put around quite a bit. Belly to belly suplex overhead, and some inverted other suplexes as well. Modified torture rack type maneuver by Steiner as well here, and the Steiners are pretty dominant. There is a guy in a pink mask which takes a rolling DDT off the shoulders of Rick Steiner, and brutal move. Would not want to be that enhancement talent. Gordon solely doing the World Wrestling Network video, and we see the Wild-eyed Southern boys getting victories as baby faces. Of course, they make a turn right about the same time and become the U.S. Tag Team Champions. Never really understood why WCW felt the need to have two Tag Team Championships, World and U.S. at the same time. But that's neither here nor there. Cactus Jack out next. Cactus Jack at this point just kind of coming back after a little while. The Patriot, not to be confused with Del Wilkes, is his opponent here. Um, Patriot and Firebreaker Chip against Mr. Hughes and Cactus Jack. A short-lived tag team here. Cactus and Hughes, of course, the highlights. Hughes had been the bodyguard for Lex Luger in the, I guess, summer to fall of 1991, alongside the managerial services of Harley Race. Cactus with the discus clothesline. Hughes using a bunch of power moves. This team maybe lasts a month or two, doesn't really last too long, and Cactus eventually goes on to team with others, including but not limited to Abdullah the Butcher, which at the time was a much better run for Cactus. Cactus launches himself off the apron here and does the Pearl River plunge type dive, and obviously Cactus Jack in complete control or close to it of the match for a while. Patriot and the Firebreaker take over, back elbow by them, and then Cactus tries to get a victory there. This match is running longer than it should in the sense of just a lot of chaos. The short arm DDT gets a victory for Cactus and Hughes, a team that really doesn't matter too much. Stunning Steve Austin here, putting up the television title for WCW at the time. Of course, WCW 1992, as you've learned if you've listened to my WCW Saturday Night Review series, is probably my favorite year in the company. I haven't seen 88 through 91 in completion, but of what I've seen, 92, my favorite year by far. Simmons with the head scissors and cranks up on him pretty good. Paulie Dangerously, of course, managing the Dangerous Alliance, which includes Austin as the TV champion at the time. Dangerously on the outside on a very bulky cell phone for the time, but 1992, cell phones were huge, and basically they spend the majority of the match working the headlock and hammerlocks here. Good psychology from the match. They come back to the hold quite a bit. Would rather watch this by far than any of the flippy floppy stuff today, even though it's slower and I guess tells more of what today would be considered a boring story. I'd rather watch boring than nonsensical. But Austin eventually takes Simmons to the buckle and tries to break the wrist over the buckle. Simmons comes back with a knee lift among other offensive maneuvers and looks as though he's about to win the television championship. However, other members of the Dangerous Alliance do a run-in, and the match is thrown out as a basic no contest. Terry Taylor promises to eventually get rid of Marcus Alexander Bagwell and others, but also says that he has left the York Foundation because he's tired of losing because of a computer. That will close us for today. We'll be back with more right after this.